Hello everyone and welcome to this first match of Mock Premier League. So what is actually this Mock Premier League? In this league, we'll solve series of mock tests which will prepare us for an exam. So in this Mock Premier League, we'll solve series of mock tests for CMAT and MHCET which will prepare you for CMAT 2021 and MHCET 2021. And to start up with this, in our first match, we write the past paper, the actual paper of CMAT 2020. We'll analyze that paper and we'll develop a strategy for ourselves to attempt CMAT 2021 paper. So in this first match of Mock Premier League, we'll attempt and analyze CMAT 2020 actual paper as we analyze cricket. So we'll use an analogy of cricket and understand our strategy for the exam. So if CMAT is a cricket match, to play long innings, you need to pick up the right balls to hit and defend. So you cannot be a Sehwag here. Okay, you cannot hit every ball for a 6. Similarly, you cannot attempt all the questions similarly, because the difficulty level of different question is different and you need to pick up the easy question to hit a 6 or a 4, which means you need to pick up the easy balls to hit a 6. And you need to defend well on difficult questions. So if the question is difficult, you need to be defensive there. Okay, you cannot hit this ball for a 6. So how to identify which are easy questions, moderate questions, difficult question, and questions not to be attempted, questions that are very difficult, because there is negative marking in the exam as well. So if CMAT is a cricket match, to play long innings, you need to pick up the right balls to hit and defend. So to score maximum in the exam, you need to pick up right questions to attempt and leave. Okay, you just cannot hit every ball for a 6 or a 4. Similarly, you cannot just go ahead and attempt every question with the same speed, because the difficulty level of the question is different. Okay, you cannot hit a Yorker for a 6, right? So similarly, if there is a big puzzle, you just cannot go ahead and give your 100% time to it and solve it, because it's difficult puzzle. Okay, it's better to go on to the easy question first and then on to the difficult. So how will we solve this paper? We'll pick up the question. So we'll take CMAT 2020 actual paper, we'll take one section and we'll see which are the questions on which I can hit a 6, which means easy questions, which are the questions on which I can hit a 4, which means moderate questions, which are the question on which I will have to be defensive, which are difficult question, and which are the question which I should not attempt at all because they will give me negative marking, so which are my wicket questions. Once you identify this, your strategy for the exam, your attempt for the exam, your energy will be channelized in the right direction. You will be able to get maximum output from your skills. Okay, that's what we are trying to do in this Mock Premier League. So the language of the league will be, playing the league will develop us to pick up right questions in the exam. Correct. That is the only reason why we are comparing it with cricket. So we'll be picking up easy questions on which we can hit a 6, moderate questions on which we can hit a 4, and then defensive questions. Okay, that's how we will see the Mock Premier League. So tune into this and develop a right strategy for your CMAT 2021. If you are wondering why are we studying in this way, because at Storyboard we play and learn. So play Mock Premier League and learn how to attempt the actual exam paper. Today in this session of Mock Premier League, we'll go on for our second session. So in the first session, we have solved quantitative aptitude and data interpretation section. We had solved 25 questions of that. Anyone who has not been through the first session, please go through that video of quantitative aptitude and data interpretation. And today we solve logical reasoning section. We'll see 25 questions in this section which appeared in CMAT 2020 actual paper, and we'll identify which are the questions on which you can hit a 6. So which are the balls on which you can hit a 6, on which you can hit a 4, which are your defensive ball, and which are the ball on which you can lose the wicket. So we'll identify and analyze which were the easy, moderate and difficult question in the LR section of CMAT 2020 actual paper. So let's start with the match with the session of logical reasoning. So let's start by playing first ball, which is nothing but the first question in logical reasoning section of actual CMAT 2020 paper. So what is this question saying? In the following, choose the pair / group of words having the same relationship as given in the question. So this ball is clearly a sixer for me. I'll hit a 6 on this ball, okay? Because this is an easy question. This question is from analogy, where we check the relationship. So what is the relationship here? Elevated and exalted. What is a meaning of both of them? Elevated and exalted, both of them carry the same meaning. They are synonyms of each other. So elevated means taken to a next level by being elevated. Okay, so that's what is the meaning of exalted as well. So which of the 4 options is telling me synonyms here? So as you can check it, what is the relationship between them? They're synonyms, both of them. So check which of the 4 option is a synonym. Disorderly, unfaithful, no, they both have different meaning. Raise and commensurate, no, again they both carry different meaning. Promoted and excellence, no, they are not synonyms of each other. Now check this, dirty and filthy, they are synonyms of each other, okay, which is just the relationship that you are seeing here in the question. Exalted and elevated are synonyms. So I'll mark here option number D. So this is clearly a sixer. You should hit a 6 on this ball. Easy question to solve. Now let's come on and play ball number 2, question number 2 in logical reasoning section. Let's see if this is a 6 or a 4, whether we will have to be defensive or is this a wicket ball. Let's see what is the question saying. So the question given below consists of a statement followed by 3 arguments. As you can see, there is a statement followed by 3 arguments numbered 1, 2 and 3. You have to decide which of the argument is a strong or a weak argument and accordingly choose your answers from the given option. So what is the statement saying here? You have to read the statement, and for that statement you have to analyze which is a strong or a weak argument. So this question is clearly from verbal reasoning, the topic of arguments. Now at Storyboard we haven't uploaded the video on this, but we will soon be uploading a video on how to deal with arguments kind of problem, where we come up with our verbal reasoning classes. But just to give you an idea, some of you who are new to this, how do you tackle problem on arguments? There are 2 things that you look for it. First, logical. Second, not out of scope. So you have to read the statement and you have to think of these 2 things here. Should religion be taught in school? So the question, the statement is very clear. I am asking you a question, religion to be taught in school. Okay, that is, should it be taught or should it not be taught? So whenever you are giving a reason, a strong argument for that, you have to be logical with it. So this has to be something that is a logical answer. So should religion be taught in school? Yes, it is taught in the school across the world, so it should be taught here as well. No, not logical. Just because it is being taught across the world in all the schools doesn't really necessarily mean that you should also teach religion in your school. So that's something that is not logical. So you have to come up with a logical argument, something that is substantial enough reason, something that is logical when you are saying religion should taught or should not be taught. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second, it should not be out of scope. So you have to remain in this statement. Any other reason, any other thing that is given as an argument which is not at all related to the statement and which is saying that religion should be taught in school. So if it's not at all related to the statement, it is out of scope. So again, it is a weak argument. Okay, something like this. Should religion be taught in school? Religion is also taught in colleges. What is that to do with me? That is out of scope. Okay, not at all related. So that is a weak argument. So what is a strong argument? Actually, something that is logical and related to the statement. It is talking about religion being taught in school and not anything else, and it is giving me a logical reason. That will be my strong argument. Okay, so make sure you know this. The argument has to be logical, and secondly, it has to be within the statement, not something that is out of the statement. So let's see now which of these 3 is following the steps that we have learned right now. So should religion be taught in school? No, ours is a secular state. So what? If ours is a secular state, which means all the religions are equal. Correct. But that is not giving me a reason as to should religion be taught or should not be taught. Okay, it's a vague argument. It is not even complete. If they would have given a reason, ours is a secular state and so reason and so it should be not be taught, then I could have possibly thought about it. But they are not giving any reason. So what if ours is a secular state? All the religions are equal. I know that. So should the religion be taught? You are not giving me any reason for that. So weak argument. Okay, because there is no substantial logic that is being given for this. So logic fails this argument. Also, this is not in the scope of religion being taught, right? So this is not related to this. So not in the scope as well, I can say. Let's see the next argument. Yes, teaching religion helps inculcate moral value among children. See, it is so much related now. Why do you want to teach religion? Because it inculcates moral value in children. Okay, and I'm talking about school, so I'm clearly talking about children here. So this is a strong enough argument because this is logical. Religion does gives you moral value. So this is quite logical, and this is not out of scope. This is in the scope because it is telling me why it should be taught to children. So this is a strong argument, satisfying both my rule, being logical and related to the statement. Let's see the next one. No, how can one dream of such a step when we want the young generation to fulfill its 21st century goal? Anything that is given is not at all related, okay? Because you are not talking about religion to be taught in school. You are coming up with some out of scope vague argument by saying that how can one dream of such a step when we want the young generation to fulfill? Where is religion here? Where is school here? Where is the reason why it should be taught in school? So out of scope completely. Forget about logic. Okay, so what did I got from this? I got C as an answer, which is only 2 is strong. Okay, so good understanding of the rules of argument should give you this answer. Okay, so according to me, this would be 4. Why am I not telling this to be a 6? Because it's not a straight question. I can see many students marking this. Ours is a secular state as well. So that is where you can get B as an answer and you can get this to be as wrong. But with little bit idea of how to deal with the arguments problem should help you solve this question. So it's a 4 for me, not a 6, because I can see some students making mistake in this case. But if you have a good knowledge of arguments, this can be a 6 for you as well. Come and play now ball number 3, question number 3 from logical reasoning section. As soon as I see the question, there's a question from an alphabetical number series and we had practiced this a lot. So clearly this is a 6er for me, and this is such a 6er that I'll hit it out of the ground because it is such a simple question. Okay, if you had seen the basics classes of CMAT 2021 course, we know how to solve alphabetical number series. What do you do for this? Just take the option and put it here. So what is the first option? Let's say this is AB. So I put here A, I put here B, then this is AB. Okay, I put this, then BA and then B. So BA and then B. So see if there is any pattern that can be seen. This is AB, then AB, then AB, then AB, then AB, then AB. Got it? A is the answer. You will get the pattern only with option number A. If you would have thought you could start with any other option, yes, you could have started, but then you wouldn't have got the pattern here. So if I put this second option, say this is BA, then this is AB, and this is B. Okay, is there any pattern that I am getting it? BAA, then BAA, then BBA. Okay, so the pattern here is BAA everywhere, but here I got BBA, which means option number 2, option number B is not the answer. So we know how to solve alphabetical number series. Just take the option, put it out there and fill in the blanks. If you get the pattern, there is the answer. If you don't get the pattern, check it with the next option. Okay, we had learned this in the basics of number series class. If you haven't seen that, do watch our crash course for CMAT 2021. It's a free course uploaded on YouTube in the same playlist in which you are seeing this video. Okay, that will make it clear to you that this is clearly a big 6er for us. It's a full toss which you should hit out of the ground. So let's come and play ball number 4, question number 4 in logical reasoning section. So let's see if it's a 6 or a 4 or whether we'll have to be defensive in this question. So this is question clearly from number series. The previous one was the alphabetical number series and this is pure number series. Okay, and we had seen all the 6 types of problem in our YouTube classes. What are the 6 types of problems in number series and how do you tackle them? So clearly it looks like a 6er for me, that it's a number series problem. I know how to solve this. Let's see if it is defensive, because my first perspective to look at a number series problem that it's a 6er because I had practiced a lot of such problem. Okay, let's see if there is some defensive part in it as well. So let's start solving this. So what is the pattern here? It is given here 3, then 12, then 27, then 48, then 75, and then I have a, let's bring our batsman here, and then I have a 108. Okay, so is there any pattern that I can see? I can see a difference here. So 3 to 12, the difference here is 9. 12 to 27, you could have added 15. The difference here is 15. 27 to 48, 28, 38, 48, 21 is what you will add. So all that I can see is you will have to add 9 to this. You will have to add 15 to this to get to this. You will have to add 21 to this to get to this. What about this? 48, 50, 60, 70, 22 plus 5, 27. What is it? Is there any pattern that I am getting it here? I can see them to be as multiple of 3. This is 3 3s are 9, then 4 is being left, then 3 5s are 15, then 6 is being left, 3 7s are 21, then 8 is being left, 3 9s are 27, then 10 will be left, right? That's what the pattern is being going on. So 3 4 5 6 7, it's a multiple, odd multiple of 3 is what you have it here. So 3 3s are 9, 3 5s are 15, 3 7s are 21, 3 9s are 27, odd multiple. So 3 11s are, next will be what? 33. So if you add 33, you are getting it this correct. I got the pattern here. Okay, so it's clearly a 6er for me. So this is 11. Now not 12, what will you have? 13. So what is 13 into 3 equal to 39, which means the next number that you will add here is 39. If you add 39 to 108, what will that be? 147. And clearly that's my answer here, option number B. So as I thought about it, it was clearly a 6er. It was a number series and there is nothing disguised about this at all. We had solved such difficult problems on number series, and if you compare this problem with them, this is nothing. So clearly a 6er for me in the exam. Let's come and face now ball number 5, question number 5 and logical reasoning section. Let's see if there's a 6 or a 4 or whether we'll have to be defensive in this question. This clearly looks like a 6er for me because it's a question on analogy and I had practiced this a lot. So for me it's again a 6er because I know the problems on analogy are very simple and I had practiced this earlier. So what is our approach? As we have seen in our YouTube classes, how do we solve such problems? First we write our basic table. So I'll write this because I know most of you are watching this lecture for the first time. So this is how we make the table: A, B, C, D, E, F, I, J, K, L, M. What am I doing it here? I am trying to give them some number. Okay, I can do it easily as well, but I am writing everything so that I want you to understand the concept. Okay? U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now what do we do here? We number them. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I write 13 at the bottom. This is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 and then 26. So for every alphabet I know what number it corresponds. Okay, now let's start thinking about it because this will give me the hint of analogy. What is analogy? How is this one related to this? So whatever is a relationship as you go from 1 to 2, whatever is a relationship that you identify, apply the same relationship from 1 to 2. So this is your 1 here. What will be the 2? So you have to first crack this relationship. So check here, F stands for what? F stands for 6, write it here. F stands for 6. J stands for what? J stands for 10, write it here. J stands for 10. U stands for what? U stands for 21, so write here 21 for U. So let me just put it here for our better understanding. So this is F, or let's write it here, F, J, U, L, and this is B, O, Q, and then Q. Okay, is what you have it here. So F is what? F is 6. J is what? J is 10. So I wrote this as 10. U is what? U is 21. So let's write it here. And L is what? L is here. L is equals to 12. Okay, so this is what you get it here. Now let's see what has happened here. B is equals to what? 2. So let's write it here. B is 2. O is equals to what? 15. So let's write it here 15. Q is equals to what? 17. This is also 17. This is also 17. Okay, now let's compare. How do we compare this? Let's see this. F and this B. Okay, first alphabet of this and first alphabet of this. 2 has become 6, so it reduced by 4. So first I can see the logic of minus 4 here. Okay, 6 has become 2, right? Sorry, not 2 had become 6 has become 2. So it has reduced by 4 as I see the first alphabet. Let's see the next one. I'm changing the color here as well. 10. So J, which was 10, has become 15. So second alphabet I see a logic of plus 5. So first alphabet minus 4, second alphabet plus 5. Then let's see for third alphabet. Let me change the color here, blue. So what's happening with U? 21 became 17. So you can say what has happened? Minus 4. Correct. So this is the same. So let me put a green because I am repeating the logic. It's again a logic of minus 4. So minus 4 plus 5 minus 4. Let's check the last one with this L. I think this will be plus 5 because L is 12. 12 becomes 17. Correct. This is plus 5. Got it. So what is the pattern here? First alphabet as you go, this whatever this is, minus 4 of this, then plus 5 of the next one, then minus 4 of the next one, and plus 5 of the next one. That's what the logic you will use it. So let's write it here. L, H, R and then X. L is equals to what? Check it here. L is equals to 12. Okay, L is equals to 12 and the logic for first alphabet is -4. So this will become 12 minus 4. 12 minus 4 is 8. So I should have my first alphabet as 8. All of them have 8 H, right? 8 will be equal to H, but all of them have H. So let's write it here. At least I got the logic of first clear. This is -4. So 12 minus 4, 8. 8 is equals to H. So I write it here. Okay, let's go for the second one. What is the logic? Whatever is the alphabet plus 5 over this. So what is an H? H is equals to 8. 8 plus 5 is equals to 13. 13 is equals to M. So next will be equal to M. But I have here 3 options with M. So still I don't know the answer. Let's check the next one. So what will happen with R? -4. So -4 plus 5. This is -4. R is equals to what? R is equals to 18. 18 minus 4 is 14. And 14 is equals to N. Okay, so I'll get here N. N, which means I know option number B is the answer. Okay, let me just confirm it because there is only one option which has H, M, N here. Let's see the last one as well, just for our satisfaction. So this will be plus 5. X plus 5 will be what? 24 plus 5 will be what? 29. 29 is C. Okay, if you are done with 26, 27 would be this. 27, 28, 29. Okay, again you start the cycle. So it will be C. So H, M, N, C, option number B. Okay, if you are asking me why is this a 6er, because I had solved such kind of problem earlier, so I know what kind of logic do you get here. I just have to make this table, and I'll not even make this table because I had memorized this thing. Okay, so if you know this thing, you should hardly take 50 to 60 seconds to solve this question. Okay, and as CMAT is a test match, you have a lot of time here. So clearly it's a ball which should be hit for a big 6. Let's come on and play ball number 6, question number 6 in logical reasoning section. This is again from arguments. We had shown one of such question already. So in CMAT 2020 actual paper, you got 2 problems on arguments. Okay, so that's where this lecture becomes so important. Do watch our YouTube classes on arguments and you will get better idea on how to deal with such question. This is always a 6er for me. Assumption, conclusion, course of action arguments are mostly 6er for me because I know how to handle them. So what is our rule? What is the rule that we studied in the first question? Those of you who had not seen the lecture, so what is the rule that we studied? Argument has to be logical and it should not be out of scope. Okay, that's what I'll check it here. So let me read the statement and understand as to what is statement exactly asking here. Should all the factories in cities, okay, so all the factories in cities, so we are talking about factories only in cities, be shifted to outskirts, okay, far away from the main city. Okay, so think about it. Why do you want to shift the factories outskirt of city? Mainly because they are causing some problem to the people living in the city. What kind of problem can factories cause to the people living in the city? What kind of problem can people face because of factories? Maybe pollution. Okay, because of water pollution, air pollution, because they are factories. They would be releasing effluents. Okay, so that can contaminate the water as well as air, so they can possibly cause a pollution. So I know briefly in my brain as to why do you need to shift the factories from cities to the outskirts of city. Okay, there are some reasons for that. Now let's see which of this is a strong argument here. What is a strong argument? Something that is logical, giving me a logical reason as to why the factory should be shifted from the cities to the outskirts, giving me a logical reason, and it should not be out of scope. It is related to this statement. Don't give me some weird reason as to why this should happen. Give me a reason for only factories in cities. So it should not be something that is out of scope. We are not talking about factories in the outskirts. We are only talking about factories in the city. So be in the scope of the argument. So let's see. Strong arguments. Which of this is the strong? Let's read the first one. Yes, this is an essential step for controlling the pollution in the city. Logical. Will the pollution in the city be controlled if the factories are shifted from the city to the outskirts? Yes, because people are living in the city and I want to protect the people here. Okay, so that's why it is logical and not out of scope. This is telling me exactly the reason, not at all out of scope. So it's a strong argument. Okay, because it is logical and it is telling me exactly the reason why they should be shifted. So it is in the statement, not out of scope. Okay, let's read the next one. No, such step will lead to a lot of inconvenience to the employees of the factories and their families as well. Right, in our arguments class, we have studied something called as VAP analysis, viewpoint of the affected party. So who is the affected party? Are the employees. Okay, no such step will lead a lot of inconvenience to employees, and this is quite true that it can lead to inconvenience to employees, but this is not logical. This is going through my VAP analysis, correct? You are showing me the affected party, but the basic rule is not satisfied. This is not at all logical. Why this is not logical? Because it will lead to inconvenience to the employees of the factories and their family as well. If they shift to the outskirt of city, how is this going to cause an inconvenience to the employees? In fact, they will be getting all the facilities that they are required. So this inconvenience is not exactly defined here as to how is it going to cause an inconvenience. This is quite vaguely being put as an argument. It will cause an inconvenience. What do you know about employees? What do you know about their inconvenience? Do you have any information about where they are living and how they are shifting? So how do you tell that this is a strong argument? How do you say that this is logical? Because you don't know any reason behind that. Okay, so that's why this is a weak argument. Okay, even if this is a viewpoint of the affected party, but it turns out to be as weak argument. So I will say here only and only one is strong, which option? Option number D. Okay, this could be a 4 or this could be a defensive question to you as well if you don't know arguments. Okay, you can clearly mark this. Okay, yes, it is going to cause inconvenience to the employees of the factories and their families as well. But then you don't have any information about the factories, their employees. Is it going to cause them inconvenience? In fact, what about they may get a better life going there? How do you know about it? They may get a better life, their company is giving them something better, so how do you know about it? So it is not something that is logical. That's why I call only one to be a strong. So for me it's a 6er because I know arguments really well. If you would have also practiced arguments, it would have been a 6er or at least a 4 for you. So now let's come and play ball number 7, question number 7 in logical reasoning section. Let's see if we can hit a 6 or a 4 to this question. So what is the question saying here? Let's understand that first. A man wears gloves of 2 colors. So there are gloves of 2 colors, red and green. He has altogether 30 red gloves and 10 green gloves. Okay. Suppose he has to take out gloves in dark, which means he cannot see the color. Okay. Obviously that's because it's in dark. So he has to take out the gloves in dark without looking at the color. How many must he take out to be sure that he has a matching pair? What is a matching pair? Green, green, red, red would be a matching pair. So how many minimum that he must take out so that he can be sure that he has a matching pair? Okay, I clearly know that it's a 6er. You are telling me why is it a 6er? I didn't even understand the question because it's a generic puzzle. I've been teaching since the last 5 years. In almost all the classes I had taken this puzzle. In almost all the puzzle class I have this puzzle. Instead of gloves, they will put in socks. Instead of 30 red gloves, 10 green gloves, they will put in 100 red gloves, 100 green gloves. They will keep on changing the number of gloves. They will keep on replacing the gloves by socks, anything. But the question still remains to be the same. Okay, so let's understand what is actually happening here. So you have red gloves and you have green gloves. Okay, how many red gloves do you have it here? 30 red gloves. And how many green gloves do you have it here? 10 green gloves. Now the question is asking me how many must he take out to be sure that he has a matching pair. So suppose that he takes out one and the one is red. Okay, and he takes out another one, the another one is green. Now he has to take out one more. Let it be red, let it be green, let him pick up anything. But if he takes out one more, he will be sure that he has a matching pair. If he gets a red, he gets a matching pair. If he gets a green in the third one, still he will get a matching pair. Right, so minimum that he will have to take out. Okay, so supposing that he has to take out gloves in dark, how many must he take out to be sure that he has a matching pair? Correct. He wants to be sure that he has a matching pair. So for that he will have to take out minimum of 3 gloves to be sure that he has a matching pair. Okay, you can think that okay, he can take 3 of red as well from this, but then still if he has a 3 of red from this, he has a matching pair. Right, this is the worst scenario where he get 1 from red and 1 from green. Okay, now he cannot say a matching pair. For that he will have to take out the third to get 1 matching pair. Okay, so he needs to take out 3. How I would have solved this in exam? I wouldn't have read all these things. I know the answer is 3. It's memorized to me. In case you put this 100 red gloves, 100 green gloves, doesn't matter. Answer is 3. Instead of gloves, put a socks there. Red socks, green socks, doesn't matter. The answer is 3. So I wouldn't have thought about it at all, because I had solved it in the class so many times that I know the answer for this is 3. Okay, this is what you call for a generic puzzle. It means you just ask so many times that you even remember the answer. That's why it's a 6. So let's come and play now ball number 8, question number 8 from logical reasoning section. And this question is clearly from the chapter of coding decoding. And we had seen all the kind of tricks as to how do you deal with such problem. So looks like a 6er. Okay, let's see if it becomes a 4 eventually when I start solving it, but first impression gives me that it is a 6er. Okay, and I can see it easily as well. Rustic is coded as this, so clearly it is R what minus 1 will give you Q. Okay, then check U and T. U minus 1, okay, will give you the second alphabet. So comparing first alphabet with first, second with the second. So this is minus 1. So if I were to just write it here for our better understanding, let's write it RUSTICATE, rusticate. Okay, and you have this here Q T T U I D B D B S D. As you can check it here, this is minus 1. This is minus 1, U minus 1 T. This is plus 1, S plus 1 T, T plus 1 U. This is plus 0, same, whatever is the alphabet here, you see it here as well. This is what? C plus 1, E plus 1, T minus 1 S, E minus 1 D. So that's the logic. Minus 1, minus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 0. Then plus 1, plus 1, minus 1, minus 1. So apply this logic to what? Statistic. So let's write it here. STA. TIS, TIC. What will you have first? Minus 1. So S minus 1 would be what? R. So I have first is R. Then minus 1. T minus 1 would be what? TU. Okay, but minus 1 would be S. So previously S. So minus 1, now plus 1 to this. A plus 1 B. T plus 1 U. So this is RSBU. Do I have it in option? I have 3 options with RSBU. Okay, so I'll have to solve further. I remains to be I. So I remains to be I, which means this is not the answer. This is not the answer. Let's just check the next alphabet to get to the answer. So this is plus 0. What is the next alphabet here? Plus 1. Okay, so S plus 1, it has to be T here. So after I needs to have a T here, which is option number A. So this is also gone. Okay, don't solve it completely. You want it to solve quickly. Okay, so option number A is the answer. So it was a problem on coding decoding, but clearly a 6er. We had solved such a difficult problem on coding decoding. As compared to that, this is nothing. So clearly a ball in which you should hit a long 6. Come and play now ball number 9, question number 9 in logical reasoning section. And this question is from the topic of syllogisms. We had uploaded a comprehensive class on syllogisms on our YouTube lectures for CMAT 2021. So watch through that, and this is clearly a 6er for you. We had solved 2x2, 3x3 conclusions there. This is 2x2 conclusion. Even in syllogisms, they are asking you 2x2 conclusion. So clearly a big 6er for me. Okay, let's just solve this now. Let's get to the answer quickly. So statement are given. From the statement they ask you conclusion. Okay, so let's plot the statement. We have to see which of the conclusion is true. So what is the statement saying? Let's pick up the first one. All huts are bungalows. So I'll make this red represents huts, and let's draw one more circle that is representing bungalow. So blue is representing bungalow. And what am I saying it here? All huts are bungalows. All red are blue. Okay, that's what I'm saying it here. So let me put the color here as well for your better understanding. All red are blue. Okay, which means all huts are bungalows. What after that? All bungalows are churches. So let's put a green color here. This green color is representing churches. Okay, so let's put it here. Yes, and what is being said? All blue are green is being said. So all red are blue, all blue are green. And if you have to put it in terms of the problem that is being given, all huts red are bungalows blue, and all bungalows blue are churches green. So after reading this statement, what can you say? Surely, because you remember the definition of conclusion that we have done in our syllogisms class. conclusion is something that you can say with 100% surety after reading the statement. So after reading the statement, what can you say surely? Okay, if you are not sure about that thing, this thing may happen, this thing may not happen. If you are not sure about that thing, it is not a conclusion. Something that you are 100% sure about after reading the statement, that is your conclusion. So what can you say with absolute surety after reading the statement? Can you say that some churches are huts? Can you say that some churches are huts? Yes, of course you can say that, because all huts are churches. If you can understand, all huts are bungalows, all bungalows are churches, which means all huts are churches. So if all huts are churches, can you surely say that some churches are huts? Of course, because if all red are green, can you say that some red are green? Yes, some means one as well. So are you sure about this? Of course I'm sure about it. Okay, so that's why I'll say one will follow. Or you can remember what I had taught you. If all A are B, it has only two conclusion, type 1. Some A are B, some B are A. So you can think in that way as well, as we have learned in syllogisms class. Okay, some of you are not getting this, just watch that 1.5 hour class on syllogs and you will get through this. It's the easiest topic you can get in reasoning. Okay, let's see the second conclusion. So can I surely say, after reading the statement, can I surely say that some churches are mentioned? Some churches are mentioned. Okay, what about the mentions here? I think there is some wrong thing mentioned here. Some churches are mentioned. So mention is already not here. So I think this has to be some printing mistake. It has to be some churches are bungalows. Okay, it would be this. This is how it would be. Some churches are bungalows. So can you say this? Yes. All bungalows are churches. So surely you can say that some churches are bungalows, right? So 1 and 2. So I can surely say that this will also be happening and this will also be happening after reading the statement. So which is a conclusion? Both 1 and 2 follow the conclusion. Okay, there was a printing mistake here. Just make sure that you write here bungalows and it'll be all clear. So this is clearly a 6er for me, because I had solved such a difficult problem in syllogs. The problem with maybe, the problem with reverse syllogs, the problem with 3 statement 3 conclusion, 3 statement 4 conclusion. I had solved such a difficult problem, either or conclusion, the type 5 one. So this is such a simple problem on syllogs. Okay, clearly a 6er. So let's come and play ball number 11, question number 11 in logical reasoning section. This is a question from Odd Man Out, the topic that we have studied in reasoning, and this looks like a clearly a 6er for me. Okay, it can be a defensive or any other question, but this Odd Man Out is clearly a 6er because it's being said here: brinjal, cabbage, cucumber, all 3 are vegetables, papaya is a fruit. Okay, so even if you know this basic, you will get to the answer. Okay, so clearly a 6er for me playing ball number 11. So let's come and play now ball number 12, question number 12 from logical reasoning section. This is again a problem on syllogs. We had done such problem where the third statement is being derived from the first two. So is the third statement derived from the first two? So that's what the question is being saying here. Let's read this. In the following question, select one alternative in which the third statement is implied from the first two. So you read this statement, you read this statement, and can you conclude this green statement by using the 2 yellow statements? That is the question that is being asked here. So can you conclude this third green statement by using the first 2 yellow statements? So it is nothing but syllogs only, but it is being put in a different way. Okay, but the logic here remains of syllogs. So can you use this 2 yellow and can you get a green? I think the answer is C only. How do I know that? All POR can run, all ABCs are POR, so all ABCs can run, of course. If you practice this enough, you can get this orally as well. So can you use this and this to derive this? I know this is not the answer because I know C is the answer. In case you want to visualize C well, let me put this here. Okay, all POR can run. So let POR be this red and blue represents run. So what am I saying? All red are blue because I said all POR can run. Okay, so if I put the color here, let me just put this: all red are blue, which means all POR, this is POR, can run. This blue represents run. Okay, what else is given? All ABCs are POR. So let me draw one more circle here that is representing ABC. Let this be a green circle that is representing ABC. Let's put the color inside this as well. This one, green one. All ABCs are POR, which means this green will come inside this red, because all ABCs, all green are red and all red are blue. That's what is being said here. Okay, so that is this, all ABCs, okay, are POR. POR is red, so all green are red and all red are blue. So can you say all ABCs can run, all green are blue? Of course you can say this. Okay, then you can say this. So if all green are red, all red are blue, you can surely say that what, all green are blue. That's what is being said here. All ABCs can run, and that's why I say that the third statement can be derived by using the first two. That's why this is my answer. If you check it anywhere else, like say all wolves are white, so if I say this to be as wolves, so all wolves are white, green becomes wild. All tigers are wild, all tigers are also wild, so wolves are wild as well as tigers are wild. So I'll get one more here which is representing tiger. So all wolves are wild, all tigers are wild as well. Can you say that all tigers are wolves? No, of course not. Okay, this may or may not happen. This is something that I'm not sure about. Okay, that's why that is not a conclusion. Okay, that's why you cannot derive the third statement from the first two. From the first two, you cannot surely say that third will happen. This may or may not happen. That's why this is not my answer. I have to mark a statement where from the first two I can derive the third statement, which is only possible with C option. So just watch the Silox class in case you are finding this to be confusing. Watch 1.5 hour class of Silox and you will never face any problem with any Silox. Okay, and Silox will always and always remain to be a sixer in your exam. It has to be a sixer. Okay, because it's quite plain. Once you understand this, there is no scope of making a mistake. So even on this ball number 12, you should hit a long six. This is clearly a question which is a blood relation puzzles. Okay, so in the puzzles class, we had learned there are various types of puzzles: tabular puzzles, sequencing puzzles, linear arrangement puzzles, circular arrangement puzzles, blood relation puzzles, mixture of sequencing plus blood relation, circular plus blood relation, and so on. So this is a plain blood relation puzzle. There is nothing else that is given here. Like, it's not a combination of circular or a linear with blood relation. It's a plain blood relation puzzle where you have to make a family tree. So according to me, as I see it for the first, it's a sixer. Okay, because it's a plain puzzle. It's not a mixture of two puzzle which is making me confused. So for me, it's a sixer. Let's see what it turns out to be. Currently, I feel it's a sixer with the kind of practice that I had done with puzzles. Okay, so let's start with it and see if it is actually a sixer or whether we'll have to be defensive here. So Mr. Ravi Reddy has 3 children: Swarna, Kamal and Avinash. So let's draw this. Mr. Ravi Reddy. So let's draw male here. Male will be represented by blue square and female will be represented by red square. Okay, that is our convention now. So Mr. and Mrs. Ravi Reddy. So let's draw this Ravi Reddy. This is Ravi. And he has 3 children. So this is a couple who is the wife of Ravi. You don't know, but he has 3 children here. So let's draw this 3 children. 1, 2 and then 3. First is Swarna, so let's make it here. Now in exam you can just write SKA. I'm writing it full because I have time here. So Swarna, Kamal and Avinash. These are 3 children of Ravi Reddy. You don't know their gender, so let's keep them like that. Once we confirm with their gender, we'll put a blue or a red square around them. Then what? Avinash is married to Madhuri. Okay, so Avinash is married to Madhuri, the eldest daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Chaudhary. Okay, so let's draw here one more couple here. Mr. and Mrs. Chaudhary. So this is your Mr. and Mrs. Chaudhary. Let's put it here. Mr. Chaudhary and Mrs. Chaudhary. So this is again a couple. They have this daughter, eldest daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Chaudhary. So this is daughter, female, and Madhuri is married to Avinash. So Avinash is male. Okay, don't just assume any gender, like you will say Avinash, so it will be male only. No, you have to get the confirmation there to put in the red or a blue square around it. Okay, so you can't assume by the name that it is male or female. Don't do that. What if they give a name as Kiran? So what will you do for that? So don't assume anything here. So yes, Avinash is married to Madhuri here, and Madhuri is the eldest daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Chaudhary. What next? The Chaudhary married their youngest daughter to the eldest son of Mr. and Mrs. Patel. One more couple here, Mr. and Mrs. Patel. So let's draw it here, Mr. Patel and Mrs. Patel. So let's put here Mr. Patel, Mrs. Patel. This is one couple. So Chaudhary, Patel and Reddy. I have three couples here. The Chaudhary married their youngest daughter. Okay, so second children of Chaudhary, their youngest daughter. This was their eldest, Madhuri. This is their youngest daughter. So whoever is their youngest daughter, she is married to the eldest son of Mr. and Mrs. Patel. So this is Mr. and Mrs. Patel. This is their son, and these two are married. Okay, that's what I get it from this part. This is Mr. and Mrs. Patel, eldest son. So let's write it here in green. This is eldest, and this is the youngest daughter of this Mr. and Mrs. Chaudhary, and the eldest daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Chaudhary. So that's what I get. Okay, what else after that? So Chaudhary married their youngest daughter to the eldest son of Mr. and Mrs. Patel. Got it? And they had two children named Arun and Sharda. Okay, so this couple has two children named Arun and Sharda. So let's write it here. Arun is here and Sharda is here. Okay, you don't know their gender, so don't put a circle across them. What next? The Chaudhary have two more children, Ratan and Varsha, both elder to Vishakha. Okay, where are Chaudharys? This is Chaudhary. Chaudhary have two more children. Okay, so let's make it here now. This is two children are already here. Let's make two more children. One children of Chaudhary and one more children of Chaudhary. What are the names? Ratan and Varsha. So Ratan and Varsha. Two more children of Chaudhary, both elder to Vishakha. Now you know this is the youngest daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Chaudhary. If these two are both elder to Vishakha, which means the youngest daughter which we are talking about is Vishakha. So let's write it here. This would be Vishakha. Okay, so got this as well. What next? Samir and Ajay are sons of Avinash and Madhuri. So this is Avinash and Madhuri. We know this as a couple. Samir and Ajay are sons. Okay, so we know the gender of both. Samir and Ajay are sons, so both blue. Okay, of Avinash and Madhuri. And the last one, Rohini is a daughter of Arun. Okay, Rohini is a daughter of Arun. So this is a couple. Their daughter, this would be Rohini. And let's write it here, Rohini. Okay, she's female, so let's put a red circle across it, and that's it. Okay, that's all that we could have done with this puzzle. So still it's a 6er for me, because I'm not thinking at all. I'm just putting everything in the tree as it is given in the question. So not thinking at all, just putting the data and getting the answer. So let's solve the questions now. What is it saying now? What is the surname of Rohini? Where is Rohini? Let's check it here. Where is Rohini here? Yeah, this is where you have Rohini. So what is the surname of Rohini? Rohini will get the surname of this two are the children of this, right? What is this couple now? This couple is Vishakha is a daughter and the eldest son, right? Patel. Check it here. Mr. and Mrs. Patel. Okay, so this father of Arun and Sharda has a surname of Patel. Okay, so even Arun and Sharda will have a surname of Patel. So Rohini will also have surname of what? Patel. Right? Because Rohini is a daughter of Arun. So Arun would be married. Arun would be married to someone. Okay, so that's what is being there. And Rohini is a daughter of Arun. And Arun is a son of Patel. Okay, so Rohini will get the surname of Patel. So that's what option number D, Patel, is what I'll mark it here. Okay, let's see the next question from the puzzle. How is Samir related to Madhuri's father? Okay, let's come here. Madhuri is where? Madhuri's father. Okay, this is Madhuri. Madhuri's father would be whom? Madhuri is a daughter of Chaudhary, right? Okay, eldest daughter of Chaudhary. So father is Chaudhary. What is being asked here now? How is Samir related to Madhuri's father? Okay, where is Samir now? Samir is this. Madhuri's father, Sameer is what? Madhuri's father. So how can you say son is grandson? Correct. Madhuri's father's daughter is Madhuri, correct? And Madhuri's son is Sameer. So Sameer is actually grandson of Madhuri's father, because Sameer is the son of Madhuri and Madhuri is the daughter of Mr. Chaudhary, right? Okay, that's why you will say what? Grandson. So let's mark here option number A. How is Sameer related to Madhuri's father? Grandson. Okay, clearly you can check it from here that Madhuri's father, daughter Madhuri, and Madhuri's son Sameer. So Sameer is the grandson of Madhuri's father. Okay, clearly this is the answer. What is the surname of Sameer? Okay, let's come on to this. What is the surname of Sameer? Where is again Sameer? Sameer is here. Who is Sameer's father? Sameer's father is Avinash. Avinash has what surname? Avinash has a surname of Reddy because he comes from Reddy family. So will Sameer have a surname of Reddy? So let's put it here. What will be the surname of Sameer? Reddy. Okay, quite a simple problem. What is the last one? How is Mrs. Chaudhary related to Avinash? Okay, so let's come here and see how is Mrs. Chaudhary related to Avinash. So where is Mrs. Chaudhary here? This is where I have Mrs. Chaudhary, and where is Avinash? Avinash is here. Okay, Mrs. Chaudhary's is here. Daughter is married to Avinash. Okay, this is Mrs. Chaudhary. Mrs. Chaudhary's daughter Madhuri is married to Avinash. So what is being asked now? Let's check it here again. How is Mrs. Chaudhary related to Avinash? Would be what? Mother-in-law. Okay, clearly. Avinash wife's mother is Mrs. Chaudhary. So Mrs. Chaudhary is mother-in-law of Avinash. Okay, clearly I'll mark here option number C. So as I said, it is a sixer for me because I don't have to mix the puzzles here as I do it in MHCET problems. Okay, that's a T20, it's a test match, so you're getting easy problems here, but you also have a time here. Okay, so make sure you hit a 6 on this ball because this was quite an easy ball to be hit for sixer. And imagine you are getting 4 questions from this puzzle, so it's worth spending time here on this puzzle because once you have this chart ready and you don't even have to think for this chart, whatever is given, just plot it here. Once you have this chart ready, you get 4 questions. Okay, 4 into 4, 16 marks from this. So it was a sixer. You cannot afford to miss this ball. So let's come and play now. Ball number 17, question number 17 in logical reasoning section. In the following alphabets, which letter is 8 to the right of 14th letter from the right hand? Clearly a big sixer. Okay, you have to hit a big sixer on this ball because it's a full toss which should be hit for a 6. It's such an easy question. Okay, it comes from the topic of general puzzles. So let's go ahead and solve this. There's a shortcut, 14th letter from the right hand. So 8 to the right of 14th from the right. Okay, what is your right? We had learned this in the class. Your right hand is always your right and your left hand is always your left. Okay, so this is your left hand if you are sitting like this here. So this is your left hand and this is your right hand. So if you are talking from the right, you're talking from here. So what is being asked? Which letter is 8 to the 14th letter from the right? So there are 2 ways to solve it. First I'll tell you the long method. That's what students do. They calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, 14th from the right, which means from my right hand. And then 8 to the right of 14th from the right. So 8 to its right. 8 to the right of this. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8. The answer here is T, option number D. Yeah, as I said, clearly a sixer. But I will not even do this in the exam. I'll take a further shortcut of this. Okay, what will I do here? What is being given here? Let's see that. 8 to the right of 14th letter from the right hand. So 14th from the right hand, 8 to its right, which means 14 minus 8. Okay, which means I need an alphabet which is 6 from the right. Which is 6 from the right? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then sixth. Answer here is T. Okay, because they can play in many which way in this kind of problem. We had seen this in the class of general puzzles. What they play? 14th from the right, third to its left, third to its right, fourth to its left. So how many times you will keep on doing like this? Okay, from the left, then to the right, then to the left, then to the right. How many times you will do that, right? So it's better that you write it first only. 14 minus 8 is equals to 6, or anytime they ask you to go left or to the right, you add and subtract accordingly, okay, as we have seen it in the class. So this was surely a 6er for me. Okay, it's the easiest question I can get in the paper. So let's face now ball number 18, question number 18 in logical reasoning section. This is a question from direction sense, and any question from direction sense is always a 6er. Okay, what can you complicate in this chapter? This chapter in itself is so easy. Okay, so let's start and solve this and get the runs on this ball. So what is being said here? Let's start with it. Sarita walks 15 km towards west from his house. Okay, we have practiced this. Towards west means the west direction. Okay, if you don't know this, watch the direction sense class, which is there on our YouTube channel, and you will get all idea about direction and how to handle them. Okay, this is the easiest chapter in reasoning that you can get. So Sarita walks 15 km towards west. This is the west direction from her house. Okay, this is her house, the dot. Then turn left. Okay, now I had taught this many times in the class, but some student may be looking at this for the first time, so I am explaining this. See, if you are walking towards west, how do you know this is a west direction? Because there are 4 directions here. East is this, west is this, north is this, south is this, right? If you go towards west, you will go in this direction. That's why I had made it here. So she traveled towards west and then she took a left. Now see, she's traveling like this towards west. This is her right hand. Okay, and this is her left hand. So if she takes a left, where will she go? She will go down towards a left hand. So she will go like this. That's what I understand. Then she takes a left and walks 20 kilometers. So this distance is equals to 20 kilometers. She then turned to the east. Which is east? We know this direction. This is the east. Okay, so she will go in this direction, east. What distance? 25. So this is 15 plus 10 more over that. Okay, so what do I know? What distance do I know? This is 15. I know this is 20. And I know this is equal to, this entire thing is equals to 25. Okay, which tells me what? If this distance is equals to 15, this distance, the remaining one here, this much will be what? 10, because the total is 25. Okay, this is where she is right now. This is where she is right now. What then? And finally turn to the left, covering 20 more kilometers. So now she is traveling like this. Now imagine she is traveling in this direction, that is east. This is her right hand and this is her left hand. What is she taking? Left. If she takes a left, she will go towards left hand up. Okay, she will go towards the left hand up. So she will come here like this. What is this distance equal to? 20. Okay, so this distance is also equal to 20, which means this 2 point, this is also 20. Okay, we know that this is also 20 and this is also 20. So this 2 point are in the same line, right? Because the distance here is same. It is not that this point is above this point or below this point. They both are in the same line. So what did I get from this? This was the starting point. This is the finishing point. How far is she from her house? House was the starting point. So how far is she from her house? This distance, this blue distance. Okay, what is this blue distance equal to? 10. Okay, that's what I'll mark it here. Option number D, 10. Okay, as I said, it was a 6er. We had solved such difficult problems in direction sense, and look at the level of this problem. Okay, this is nothing as compared to what we practice in our YouTube classes. Okay, so this should clearly be a 6er in your paper. Any question from direction sense has to be a 6er. Play now ball number 19, question number 19 in logical reasoning section. Okay, this is from a general puzzle section, and this is clearly a 6er. Choose the correct order, and the things here given here about how do you make a sari, silk sari. So what is the first sequence? Arrange them in the correct order. So first we have a silkworm. From the silkworm, what do you get? From the silkworm you get silk, correct? What do you do with that silk? From the silk you make a yarn. Okay, from the yarn you make cloth, which is 4, and from the cloth comes sari. Okay, quite a basic. Which is that order now? So B first, and then it's D, then A. So B, D, A looks option B. B, D, A, then E, 4th, correct, and then C. B, D, A, E, C. Option number B is the answer in this case. Okay, so clearly a ball on which you should hit a 6. Let's come and play now. Ball number 20, question number 20 in logical reasoning section. This is from visual reasoning, the topic that we have studied so well because it is important for Maharashtra CET. There are 25 questions in the 100 question of reasoning that you get only from visual reasoning. Okay, that's why we had spent good amount of time on this topic in our YouTube classes, and we know this well. So this is clearly a 6er for me, and I can orally solve this. Okay, we had seen 8 types of problem in visual reasoning, so many types of primary logic, so many types of advanced logic, so many hybrid logics that we have seen, and after solving so much of visual reasoning problem, this is such a simple problem here now. What comes next? So check it here, from this to this, what has happened? The left part of the triangle remained, this much part, and it is being colored. So what will happen from here to here? The left part of the circle will remain and this will be colored. Option number A. Okay, a full toss which should be hit for a 6. Let's play now ball number 21, question number 21 in logical reasoning section. Let's check if it's a 6 or a 4 or whether I'll have to be defensive here. So standing near a bus stop, Ayush told Smita that Koti was more than 10 kilometers but less than 15 kilometers from there. So more than 10, less than 15, it could be what? 11, 12, 13 and then 14. So Ayush is saying out of this 4, this is one is a right answer. Smita told that it was more than 12, okay, so it cannot be 11, it cannot be 12 because it is more than 12, so it could be 13 or 14, but less than 14, so answer is what? 13. If both of them were correct, which of the following could be the distance to Koti from the bus stop, which is equal to 13 kilometers? D. Okay, such easy questions you get in CMAT. Now imagine logical reasoning as a section is so simple. Even if you don't study much about it, even if you know just silox here, some puzzles that you know, rest of the question you will be able to solve it by yourself because the general puzzles that come here are so very simple. Just use the basic logic and you will get to the answer. Let's come and play now ball number 22, question number 22 in logical reasoning section. So this question is again from visual reasoning. So in CMAT 2020 paper we got 2 questions from visual reasoning. First was a 6er. Let's see what is this question, whether we'll have to be defensive here, 4 or will it be a 6. Okay, I cannot say just by looking at it this time. So let's solve it and conclude in the end as to whether it's a 6 or a 4 or it's a defense question. So let's start with it. So what's happening from here? The question is what will come next. Okay, so let's check what is happening from here to here. So only one thing has changed here, as you can check it. This 3 are same, this 2 are same, this 1 changes direction. So as I go from here to here, 1 changed the direction. Go from here to here, what has actually happened? This has remained here, but this 2 have changed their direction, correct? Check it. Okay, and this 2 have changed their direction. 4 changed the direction, 2 remains to be there. The first and the last remains, the middle 4 changed their direction. So, okay, so 1 changed direction, 4 changed direction. Then what? Let's come here and see as to what is being given here. 3 is remaining same. This is only 1 change direction. So I'm getting a pattern. 1 change direction, 4 change direction, 1 change direction. Then it will be again what? 4 change direction. So let's check it here as to how will I solve this now. 4 changing direction here would be what? Check it here. Which option will satisfy such kind of condition here? So we had seen it till here, only 1 change. Let's check it here. What is happening from here to here? This has changed the direction. And who else have changed? This 3 have changed the direction, correct? And what? This 2 have remained same, correct? So I'm clear with the logic. 1 change direction, 4 change direction, 1 change direction, 4 change direction. Next will be 1 change direction. So look at an option where only 1 out of the 6 is changing the direction. Okay, where is such an option? So let's start with A. 3 are same, correct? This 3 are same. This is same, correct? This is same. This has changed the direction. Okay, this has changed the direction. So 1 changed direction here as we go from this, and this has remained same, correct? Option number A is the answer because I needed an option which has only 1 change in the direction. Okay, so what kind of a question is this for me? Possibly first time a wicked question. Now we got the answer. Why am I saying this to be a wicked question? Because I think still there are multiple logics by which you can think this question. And I'm not even sure that this is the right logic to it because the question looks very weird. Okay, what exactly the logic by which they have made it, still you are not able to crack it. So possibly this is a wicked question. This may give you a negative marking. So if you're not sure about this question in the exam, don't mark this question. Okay, now ball number 23, question number 23 in logical reasoning section. This is a question from number puzzles. Okay, let's see if it's a 6 or a 4 or whether I'll have to be defensive in this question. So I cannot say anything by just looking at it. So let's solve something to see if it's an easy or a difficult question. So 9 becomes 11, I can say plus 2. 9 becomes 13, I can say plus 4. Okay, that's how I said. 11 becomes 13, so okay, plus 2. 11 becomes 15, okay, plus 4. 15 becomes 17, okay, plus 2. 12 becomes 15, that is plus 3, okay. So you have here plus 4, then plus 3, then plus 0, then this is again plus 4, then this is again plus 3, okay. So this is the pattern that I get here, and here it is plus 2, so this has to be again plus 2, this becomes 18, this has to be again plus 2, this becomes 15, option number D. Okay, a number puzzle which was clearly a sixer. You cannot miss this ball in exam. So it's a very easy question. Make sure you hit this ball for a 6. Now let's play ball number 24, question number 24 in logical reasoning section. This is from the topic of Venn diagrams. And what is the question asking me? How is this represented by using a Venn diagram? So how will you represent this shirt, collar and pocket by the means of Venn diagram? Clearly a sixer. Okay, I don't have to think much here at all. It's a simplest of question that I can get in the exam. Come on, CMAT 2020, give me some difficult question. Such easy questions here now. So what do you analyze it here? Okay, we had seen this in class. Now analyze this better. Shirt, every shirt has a collar and a pocket, but this collar and pocket are different from each other. Okay, there is no intersection between them. So this is a shirt. Every shirt has a collar and a pocket, but these two are different from each other. So answer here is option number C. Okay, if you want to visualize this better, let this represent collar, that is blue. Let the red represents pocket, and let the green represent shirt. Okay, so all blue are green, which means all collar will be shirt. So collar is a part of shirt, blue and red are part of green. But blue and red are separated. They are two different colors. Similarly, collar and pocket are parts of shirt, but they are separated from each other. Okay, that's why I'll mark it here option number C. Okay, clearly a ball on which you should hit a big 6. So let's come and play now the last ball of logical reasoning section. The ball number 25, question number 25 in LR section. Okay, this question is from MO, mathematical operation, and we had practiced this well. So this should also be a sixer for me because it looks very easy. As soon as I can see this, there are certain alphabet that is standing for some sign in maths, and I have to check which of the 4 option is a correct option. Okay, so let's read this. This is clearly a sixer for me because I had practiced such problems in mathematical operation. So let's start with it. In the following question, different letters stands for different symbols. So R stands for addition, S stands for subtraction, and then so on. Out of the 4 alternatives given, only one is correct according to the above letter symbols. Identify the correct one. Solve with options. So this is what 16t. T is what? T is equals to multiplication. So 16 into this becomes 2. R is what? I'm checking this way in case you're wondering what am I writing. R is equals to what? Addition. So plus of 4. What is U equal to? U is nothing but division. Division means this is 6, and x means what? Less than. So this is less than it. So is the value of this thing coming out to be less than it? Apply what now here? What will you apply? BODMAS. Bracket of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Okay, that's how we started the class on mathematical operation. So those of you who doesn't know this, go to our YouTube classes of mathematical operation and you will get to know how to deal with such problems. So let's solve this now. First division will be there. So this becomes what? So this becomes 4 divided by 6, then plus of 16 into 2, that is equals to 32. Okay, division, if I do this, 2 to the 4, 2 3 the 6, 32 into 3, 96 plus 32 into 3, 96 plus 2, 98 divided by 3. It's not less than 8. Whatever is the answer, 32 point something, not less than 8. So this is not true. If I solve this by BODMAS and I get the answer, it will come out to be somewhere around 32, which is not less than 100. So this is wrong. Okay, let's check the next one. I have to find which is true. So 16U. U means what? U means division. This is U here. 2. Then R. R means what? R means addition. Plus here. So write it here. 4. Then what? S. S means what? Subtraction. So write a minus here. 6. W means what? Greater than 8. So is the answer of this coming out to be greater than 8? Let's see. First division, 16 divided by 2, this is 8. 8 plus 4, 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. Is 6 greater than 8? No, 6 is actually less than 8. So gone. This is also not my right answer. Okay, let's try option number C.
So what is being given is 16 into r. R is what? Addition. So let's put this r plus 2. Then s is equals to what? Subtraction. Then 4. Then v means equal to. So I'm putting it here. Then 6. Okay. Then r and then 8. R is equals to what? Addition. 6 plus 8. 6 plus 8 is equals to what? 14. Okay, so let's do this. 16 plus 2, 18 minus 4, 14. Correct. Okay, so this option number C is turning out to be true. As I said, this is clearly a ball on which you should hit a big 6.